This is the latest edition of Front Up, and I am Whitey Willauer, and I got a couple of great guests here today. Let me introduce you to Matt Herr, who's in charge of the Shellfish Management Plan. I guess chairman of that or something like that.
Yeah.
And Tara Riley, who is the town biologist, and she's doing great things at the boathouse. And matter of fact, you're out in Matticat today. What was happening out in Matticat?
We were checking out all of the seed that we've located.
Yeah. How does it look in Matticat for next year?
It looks really good. You know, I was out with Spanky, and he seems to be pretty excited about fishing there next year.
Spanky's excited, then it's worth getting excited about.
Yeah,
So
it's definitely
great.
really thick out there, so that's a good thing to see.
And did I hear you might shut it down because it's only seed?
It is. There are very few adults that we were able to find in the tows that we did.
So you just tell all the fishermen don't fish there.
I think pretty much they were finished anyways, fishing out there in Matticat. So
and back in town.
Yeah, town's open, so we definitely keep fishing there.
Great. Now tell me, Matt. Tell me about the Shellfish Management Plan and where you're going and where you're heading and all of that kind of nice stuff.
All right. Well, you'll have to bear with me. It's easy to digress on the Shellfish Management Plan. There's so many things, but it's basically been going on now for about 4 months.
Yeah.
We have Urban Harbors Institute that have been hired to consult with us. They're part of UMass? They are. They're part of UMass. And they've been meeting with us bi-weekly to help us determine where we're going, and we in turn trying to help them steer around some of the local issues that we have.
Are they interviewing fishermen and
They are.
Yeah.
We've had quite a few fishermen interviews. We've had interviews with the scientific community and just, you know, people that have, you know, a special story to tell where, I mean, there's very few areas about Nantucket life that the Shellfish Harbor Plan doesn't have the potential of touching on. So. And
then where does this plan all lead to? Does it tell us how to better fish in the harbor or to do a multitude of things? What's the objective?
The objective is to basically set out a bunch of goals that we all have decided are important for managing the shellfish resource in Nantucket. That is the main goal, is to ensure.
What kind of goals do you think you'll end up with?
Well, the main points that people have expressed shared concern on is the water quality and making sure that we have habitat that's healthy enough to support shellfish populations.
You mean like eelgrass? And
good eelgrass, and you can't have good eelgrass without good water quality. So all of the issues are interlinked.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of variables. So what Urban Harbors is helping us do is to determine how we get to these goals that we establish, and how aggressively we are going to be able to pursue them, and who the stakeholders are and who we're going to need to pull into the process.
Now, how does the water quality look right now, Tara? I mean, I know that you recently got some data back.
I did. I just got our data back from last summer. And just at first glance, I think it looks pretty good. It looks better than I had expected, but we can expect a professional presentation by SMAS probably the next.
I didn't mean to jump ahead of things, but you know, just sort of a preview of.
Yeah, I mean, there are definitely some issues that we have during the summer months with water quality, with fecal coliforms mainly. I think is what the data didn't look too promising on that, but as far as
what's causing that.
Mainly just, you know,
sewerage
and all the boat traffic. You know, if they're dumping in the harbor, which they shouldn't be, that can contribute to it.
But I gather you're doing things like at Fagawi and Race Week and things to try to keep those
definitely
big,
definitely.
But otherwise, people are doing.
Yeah, there are multiple factors that play into fecal coliforms.
Yeah. Now, how about there's a lot of talk about sewering along the shore there. How much do you feel that the sewerage is seeping into the harbor in Monomoy and places like that?
Well, I think that area is the area that has the highest concentration, and I think if we're able to sewer part of it, it will definitely help in cleaning up that part of the harbor.
And that part of the harbor, you know, if the scallops spawn there, then that causes problems. And doesn't the spawn go up and down the harbor?
Well, that's one of the things. We're running a few scenarios. We have 3 scenarios that we're running in conjunction with the Monomoy Sewer Project. And one of them, I mean, they're going to look at the hydrodynamics of, you know, the tidal flushing and that type of thing, just to kind of see how they play into the sewer project. We're going to be looking at raising the jetties and if that will help with the tidal flushing as well.
I gather that a lot of the seed went out and then turned right to the cut and ended up off of the north side of Cascada. Yeah, so that didn't get back in. Then if we have this plan, does it take into consideration all of these possible factors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The circulation is a big one because a lot of what the plan hopes to address is certain strategies that we can implement for enhancing the shellfish stocks, and a lot of that's going to have to do with Tara down at the boathouse.
Yeah. Now you're breeding lots of scallops down at the boathouse, aren't you?
Getting ready to.
Getting ready. Well, I mean, overall.
Yeah.
How many million scallops are you going to breed? Animals?
I don't know. You know, this year we're going to start a lot earlier. We have, you know, the boathouse is ready to go. Last year we were kind of, you know, building the boathouse.
But it was great. I mean,
it went really well, but we found out that we need to do our spawns earlier just to avoid the rust tide bloom that is probably going to come in August. So we're going to, you know, reproduce our scallops early so that we can do some releases probably the first week in June. So that they'll have a chance to grow and survive the bloom that's probably going to show up again.
Happen no matter what.
It's inevitable.
So when you release them, how do you release the spawn?
Basically, we just set up a boom, a construction boom in a circle, and then so that provides a containment enclosure, and then we basically just release, you know, millions of larvae into this enclosure, and we provide a substrate for them to settle on. So hopefully,
substrate meaning something on the bottom.
Basically, we use spat bags with Netron because they're in the upper part of the water column when they're looking for something to settle on.
Oh, they settle on that, and then where do they go after that?
Basically, we just, you know, wait for them to grow until we can see them, and then we'll, you know, quantify how many actually settled.
Yeah. But do you release those? Or?
Yeah, they will be released. Everything that we, you know, catch in spat bags, we definitely release.
Well, that's great. Now, tell me, after she gets all of this data, how is that going to be integrated into overall goals? In other words, how do you get from what she's doing to the planning?
Well, what she's doing is just going to be a part of an overall strategy, at least where the aquaculture and the propagation parts of the plan come in. It's another reason why circulation is a big goal of the plan, is to understand the circulation patterns, because not only do you have aquaculture and hatchery related propagation enhancement, but you also have things you can do in the field with seed management and setting up spawning sanctuaries and understanding the circulation patterns, which are most likely to keep the larval stage animals in the harbor, because we're starting to find that a lot of the animals are finding their way out of the harbor. So if we could better understand where to set up those sanctuaries and how to manage them from that point forward, we stand a much better chance of retaining the larvae that we have naturally in the wild.
You ought to talk to some of the sailors. They know where every little current is and where the back eddies are and everything else like that, but I don't know if you could control them.
You can't control them, but to know where they are and to know where you would set, even with Tara's larval release areas, it will be very strategic to know where to put those so that you'll get the best settlement. And I think one of the things that we're finding about the eelgrass and the general degradation of the eelgrass over the years is that it isn't as effective at catching the larvae as it used to be. If you can kind of visualize the eelgrass is like whale baleen, when a whale is trying to filter all that stuff out. We used to have eelgrass that was so long that it was much more adept at getting the larvae on the way out.
Oh, so it's shorter now.
So it's shorter now. It doesn't extend up as high, and so it doesn't serve to filter out the larvae from the water, and so it's much more apt to go out.
Wow. Now, what's causing that? Is that the nitrates again?
Again, it's that web of interdependent relationships between the water quality and the habitat, and basically we've had I mean, in the simplest of terms, we have build out, we have development, we have more people, and that always seems to correlate with a decline in your habitat. And it's hard to really point to any one particular thing. It's usually a combination of everything, but it's going to be very important within the shellfish management plan
to figure out how to grow taller.
Yeah, to say, okay, well, this is affecting this. So part of the plan is going to be to establish a bunch of baselines that speak to optimal conditions and how we achieve, starting down here, how do we achieve our optimal conditions up here.
Yeah.
And it's going to require public outreach. There's been a lot of talk about using the SMP as a tool for achieving the goals within the plan.
Yeah.
So that you, through public outreach and through getting people to be aware of these things and convinced that they're important, hopefully we'll be able to raise funds and pursue research projects that everybody, hopefully having been involved in the process, will be contributing to. And it could take many years. One of the big things about the plan is that it's going to be an adaptive plan, and it's going to take years and years to...
Yeah, but you know what direction you're going in. It's just not just sort of... but like many other places. I want to ask a couple of more questions. We're not just about scallops. We've got other shellfish. Are you breeding other kinds of shellfish?
I'm hoping to do a couple quahog spawns and possibly an oyster spawn later in the season. So.
And how about aquaculture? Are there some areas that they're...
There are a lot of people that are interested in aquaculture leases, and right now we do have some people that have leases in various parts of Nantucket. And part of the shellfish management plan is we'd like to identify some new areas that are suitable for aquaculture and qualify them. It takes a couple of years to get the areas qualified through DMF.
Oh, okay.
But mostly people are...
Department of Marine Fisheries.
Right. Mostly people are interested in farming oysters.
Yeah, because those come in. Yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, and appreciate your coming here, and good luck. And we're going to be tracking you very carefully to make sure that everybody understands what you're doing, because it's a great service to the island. Thank you very much.
Thank
you, Whitey.